Alright, let's do another of these, I guess. Absolute basics. If you're completely new to programming in Python, then start with. I did that. Yeah, I'm gonna do web developer properly. Alright. Need to learn Django, Flask, and APIs. Okay, let's start with Django then. But how is this even Python? What the? Oh, 1 second. Is Django Python? Oh, it's a fully featured Python web framework. Okay, that can be used to build complex web application. In this course, you'll jump and learn Django by example. Let's put, I guess, something in the background. As usual, maybe let's put rain this time because I don't want to put a sheet, which is getting kind of boring. What? There we go. Alright. Oh. I really need to get a better camera, honestly. There we go. Let's put this a bit closer. What's included 44 lessons. Video subtitles and full transcripts to downloadable sources, blah 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 blah. Okay, start. I need to log in. Let me guess. Yes, I do. Let's see. If I don't, I'll be very happy. Oh no, okay, I don't. Let me check if this doesn't have any music though.
Out the portfolio site. My name is Martin and I'm excited to have you here, so let's get started building.
Right.
Our part 1 is going to be Django overview. In this section I want to talk to you about what is a web framework and why would you want to use one, and then more specifically why would we want to use Django as a web framework. We'll talk about what you'll build and what you'll learn, so we'll take a preview at the finished project, and then I've got a ton of checklists of awesome, interesting topics that we're going to touch upon and dive into during this course. Right after that, we're getting started by taking a look at the app structure in a Django project, then the file structure and all those automatically generated files that come with a Django project, and we'll end up by talking about the flow of how does a request move through a Django project, and finally have a quick recap of what did we talk over and what are we going to go over in the following section. For this first part, I want you to not worry too much about it, just relax and enjoy the ride. It's what I have here. There's not going to be any coding involved from your side. I just want to make sure that you have an understanding of the basic concepts, that we're going to together know where we're headed in this course, that you've already seen the file structure that we're going to be working with, etc., etc. So relax and enjoy the ride. Now let's get started with the second video. See you there.
Alright. Django. I've never heard of that before. Probably should have.
In this video, we'll talk a bit about web frameworks in general and Django specifically. So you might be wondering, why would you want to use a web framework in the first place? I'll take a tiny detour in order to explain why. So the web is a pretty cool thing, right? And it grew organically. It started off with a little seedling of HTML, but then it just kept growing and growing exponentially, and it's really awesome, but it's also really a complex mess at this point. So that can be pretty overwhelming and very confusing. Web frameworks are there because they reduce complexity.
Okay.
When you're building for the web using a web framework, there's a lot of repetitive tasks that you just have to be doing over and over again. when you develop for the web that can get abstracted away. The web framework helps us with this. There's some database interactions in web frameworks like Django, for example. We don't even have to write SQL queries in order to be able to interact with a relational database. We can do this in pure Python, and that's because Django as the web framework makes that possible. Web frameworks generally also handle URL requests and URL mapping. They provide templating frameworks for us that make it easier to auto-generate HTML pages. And they also provide us lots of help with security caching, sessions, and tons of other things. So as a sum up, generally, web frameworks, if you're building for the web, they just really make your life a ton easier. Next question, why would we want to use Django? So Django is a Python web framework, but it's by far not the only Python web framework that's out there. However, we're using Django for a couple of very good reasons. First of all, Django has a fantastic community. The community is large and it's very supportive. There's tons of questions and answers on Stack Overflow. The Django documentation is really awesome, and it's easy to find help. Django has been around for more than a decade. It's time and battle tested. Huge applications are out there that have been using Django for a long time and are still using it. So it's really a mature and stable framework. Another big reason for using Django is that it comes batteries included, which means that for any starter project that you're going to build, there's nothing else that you need to install. You simply use Django. And that reduces complexity again, because you're not going to have to deal with installing different packages. You can simply stick with Django. Everything has the same syntax and everything is Django internal. If you want to venture outside of that, there's a huge third-party package ecosystem for Django. People have been developing for Django for more than a decade, and there's tons of proof of awesome packages out there that you can simply use and install. Another thing that's really great about Django is the pluggable structure. So you can create apps in the Django project. We'll talk about this structure in just a bit. And you can reuse it in a different project, or you can get the project of someone out there on the web and reuse it, or provide your app for someone else to reuse. So that allows a lot of flexibility and makes development much easier. Another thing I've listed here is that we can use the Django ORM for database interactions, abstracting away pure SQL queries. And that's just a couple of examples. There's much more out there, and we'll touch down on quite a few of those reasons. Last but not least, Django is written in Python, and as we all know, Python is an awesome readable language. It's fun to write. It has a great community. Since you're here on Real Python, I'm sure you know about this, but why not mention it? So Django is written in Python, and Python is a great language, so that's yet another reason for using Django.
Okay.
In this third video, we'll take a look at the project that you're going to build throughout this video course, and we'll take a look at a couple of concepts that we're going to learn while working through all of those videos. Let's start off by taking a look at the project. This is the final version of the project that you're going to build. It will be a portfolio app, so you can see in here a project that you built. You can fill it up, obviously, with your own information. The projects are going to contain images, they're going to have a title as well as a description, and you can add as many projects as you want, everything that you build. Additionally to this overview page, each of those projects has its detail page. You can click on read more, and it redirects you to a details page for that specific project that can have some additional information, in this case the technology that we built it with, and you can navigate back to the list view. We're also going to work with the admin interface to make it easy to add and edit your project entries. And here's a quick peek on how that looks like. Inside of here, you will be able to edit the project very simply and delete it, or also go ahead and add new projects. so that you can keep your portfolio up to date. With building out your portfolio as a web app, we're going to touch down on a lot of interesting Django concepts, and in the end you'll also end up with a very useful final project, your portfolio, that you can put online and show the projects that you're building to potential employers. So here's a quick overview of some of those important concepts that we're going to learn when going through this video course. First of all, you're going to learn how to build a Django project from start to finish, all the way from installing Django all the way to having the finished project sitting on your local host. We'll do lots of Django deep dives on the way. So I'm often going to be asking, how does this actually work? And we're going to try to unravel it and take a look at what's happening behind the scenes, so that we get a better and deeper understanding of what does Django actually do. On the way, we'll encounter Django error messages, and that's something I find personally very important, that you get friendly with Django error messages and don't consider them as problems, but actually as what they are, which are helpful friends that can assist you in figuring out how to solve a problem and how to better understand what's actually happening. That means we'll do quite a lot of hands-on debugging approaches. We're going to talk about them and you will see me doing them, which will help you also when you're building other Django projects that are completely unrelated, because the errors are going to stay the same and the ways of debugging are going to be helpful for any other project that you will go to do by yourself. One thing that we're going to start off doing still in this section is understanding Django projects and the Django file structure. We will understand how a request comes into a Django project and how it flows through the apps. We will talk about models, views, and templates, the most important parts of a Django project. Which files do they relate to and what do they actually mean? We'll have a little primer on using relational databases, what they are, and how to interact with them using Django's ORM. We will interact with the database both from the Django shell as well as the Django admin interface. And we will also talk about as well as use the Django templating language in order to help us automatically generate the pages that we use for our app. And we will also utilize template inheritance to avoid repetition in those templates. We'll talk about some more advanced concepts such as proper URL resolving, how do we correctly use path converters, and how to build namespaces and make sure that linking between different templates works well. And finally, we're also going to use Bootstrap for style and make sure that our page is mobile responsive so that it looks good on all devices. Alright, so that's a quick overview. Now let's get started by looking at Django apps and Django projects. And remember, for now we're just going to take a look, so relax and enjoy the ride, and see you in the next video.
Alright then, let's go.
Hello and welcome to video 4 in our Django overview, where we will unravel the mystery of apps in a Django project. Once you start a Django project, you will end up with something that looks like this. So what's currently highlighted in blue, this is my Django project. And when I just create the project, I end up with one folder in here called the same as my project, as well as this manage.py file. Manage.py is going to be an important file that we'll talk about in just a little bit when we discuss the files. But for now, let's take a look at this structure. We have this folder here with the same name as my project, and that's called the management app. So this app is going to contain some different files than any other app that we're going to build. What I have up here, the example app, is something that I created afterwards. This is different than the management app, but it's going to be the same as any additional app that I'm creating in here. So the example app is going to contain some functionality. For example, our projects is going to be its own Django app, and we could have other apps in there. Your portfolio can have a blog app, for example. Those would be all separate apps that, if you remember what we talked about before, these are pluggable, so I could reuse this whole thing in a different Django project where maybe I wanted to build another blog, or if you remember how the portfolio app looked like, let's take a peek. It looks like this, and you can easily see that this functionality could be interesting for other things. Maybe you want to make your own Instagram where you have a photo that displays and then a bit of a text, and then you can check out the photo in more detail. You could simply go ahead and reuse this app that we're going to be building here, change it a little bit, and utilize it in a different project. So that's what's meant when you hear that Django apps are pluggable, and everything that is necessary for this app to function is going to be retained inside of the app. So remember, as a sum up, we have a Django project that consists of a couple of apps. There's going to be always a management app, and then there can be multiple other apps that altogether create our Django project. I hope that makes sense, and let's hop forward to the next video. Alright, let's take another look at our bare bones project to discuss a few of the important files that we're going to work with a lot. So over here, I mentioned already before, we have manage.py. Now, we will never actually go inside of manage.py, but it is kind of the command center of your project. So a lot of commands that we run are going to sit inside of manage.py. So inside of our terminal, we're often going to call this file and then a certain function when we want to perform a Django-wide action. Inside of the management app, so this is the one that comes when we first create the project, inside of here, there's two files that we're going to touch. urls.py. We're going to use this mostly just to route forward to our other app, but we're going to take a look inside of this one here. And settings.py has project-wide settings. So we'll take a look at what this file looks like. There's a lot of code in here already that comes with Django, but we actually don't have to change too much in here most of the time, but we will come back to this file once in a while and adapt some of the settings when it's necessary. Inside of the projects app that we will be creating, we have a couple of files, and this is where we will mostly work inside of our app. And the most important files in here will be the URLs file. We will be directing here from my project. I'll talk about this more in the next video. This is where we will define our paths, and we'll make sure that if the user types something in the browser bar, that our Django app is going to know what to do with this request. Then we're going to use the views file. This is where we write our code logic in Django. And we'll also use the models file. This is where we'll define how our database table should look like. Alright, so those are the most important files: models, URLs, and views. And we'll also create a new folder in here called templates that is going to hold our HTML files, the Django template files that we'll be working with. So this was a quick overview of the most important files that we will be working with in our project. Let's head to the next video where I'll discuss how does a request flow through a Django app.
Important files were views, URLs, and models, I think.
See you there.
All right.
In this video, we'll quickly talk over the flow of a request through a Django app. Now, when you're in your web browser and you type something in there, this is going to be the address of our localhost app. And remember here on the right, this is the file structure that we just looked at before. And now I want to show you like what kind of happens when you type in enter here. How does the request flow through the Django app to finally present you the website? So let's say you click enter here. Next thing that happens is that the first address point for inside the Django app is going to be this urls.py, the project level management app urls.py. That's defined inside of settings, that this is the first one to look at. And it directs us forward to the urls.py inside of our app. This one again forwards us to views.py, where the code logic happens, and the functions in here direct us to a specific template that's going to get rendered and finally returned back to the user to see in the browser. Alright, so what happens if we change the URL up there? Say we want to see a specific project, so I'm typing 1 in here, and again it goes through the same steps in the process. urls.py, urls.py, views into the templates, and then the template gets rendered and shown to us as the user on the front end. There's a little bit more to this whole process, and we're going to dive deeper into it, but just so that you have kind of a connection between what's happening in the browser and this file structure that we looked at before. So that's all for a quick overview of the flow inside of a Django project. In the next video, we're going to do a quick recap of what we talked about in this section of the course, and then we're going to move on. So, see you in the next video.
Alright, let's go.
This is the final video in this part 1 Django overview. I hope you enjoyed the Django dry run that we just did, and let's take a look at what we just discussed. So we got a quick overview of all the upcoming content inside of this video course. We saw the file structure that we'll be learning to understand, so we looked at file structure inside of a management app as well as a normal Django app. We talked about the flow of a request, how it moves through a Django app,
I mean, it's
starting
not a
from
we,
the browser
you already
until
know
it's
it.
back in the browser.
It's more like a you.
And
AKA
we
me.
also understood the pluggable nature
You
of Django
talking
apps inside of a Django
to me.
project, so that we
Which is
can
you in
create
your
an app
case
and
and
move
me
it
in
from
my
one
case.
project to another one, and it's all contained within itself. So well done for this quick intro section. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in part 2, where we're gonna get ready for actually coding by setting up our development environment, installing Django, and creating a Django project. See you in part 2. Hello and welcome to part 2 of this Django tutorial. Here we will set up a good development environment so you can get started building your Django app.
Why?
At first, before we can continue, just make sure that you have these things set up. You need to have a version of Python 3 installed.
Let's get this started. Beginner knowledge of using the CLI. I don't know what that is. Let me get PyCharm though. I don't know what is this Python 3.x. What is Python 3x? 1 second. I think it's just a version of Python. PyCharm. Let's get PyCharm. PyCharm. Let's put this somewhere else. Like here. And I can just put it here. Just make it. There. Add. Oh, nope, that does not work. Where do I put this? I don't know. I'll just put it somewhere here or something. I guess that's fine. Alright. Let's search this up. Alright. this one. I want the free one. I think there's a free one, isn't there? Pricing. It costs money. Wait, let me just search up Python editor. Maybe IDE? Text. Yeah, editor is good. Okay, I guess I can use this then. Alright.
Then you need to have a text editor or an integrated development environment that you're familiar with using. For example, I'm going to be using PyCharm, but you can use anything else that you want to. Then we will also need some beginner knowledge of using the command line interface. On Mac, that's the terminal app. So let's start off with our first video about this section. So in part 2, it's all about setting up your development environment so that you can start working on the Django project. For this, we will be using PyCharm. I'll talk a little bit about what's the difference between using.
Okay, let's. Ayo. Enter first number, enter second number. What the fudge? Okay. I guess this. Let me make my image a bit smaller. There we go. Alright. I don't want this. This side. Okay, there it is. Okay. That's better. I want to change this, but I don't know if I can. I'm too lazy to find a way. Oh, I'm 25% already done. It's quite a lot. Okay.
PyCharm and just doing everything manually, but we'll go ahead and build it up from scratch. It will create a virtual environment that we will use to install Django, and then we will create a Django project in there, and that's a wrap for this first part. So in this part, the idea is to get us all the way from just getting started to the beginning of having a set up Django project that we'll start to work with.
Alright.
So let's get going. Okay, so let's get started setting up this development environment. As I mentioned before, I will be using PyCharm for this.
Alright.
PyCharm has some advantages in that it does some of these things that we're going to do now for you automatically. It creates a virtual environment when you start a new project, so you wouldn't have to do some of those things by hand. But to make sure that everyone can work along, we're just going to set it up by hand.
Okay.
So for this, I will head over to my terminal.
Okay.
You can find your terminal either using Spotlight, typing terminal, and then just open up the app. I have it here on full screen so that it's easier for you to see what's going on. And
let me show my whole display so this I don't have to just use the thing. This is the one, so like this. And then here, go to terminal. I heard terminal. There we go. Alright. What do I do?
sitting inside of my documents folders. Let's take a look. This is where some knowledge of the command line interface comes in handy.
Oh, shit.
Inside of this folder, currently have some Mac generated files, a materials folder, and I have a folder portfolio done, which contains the finished project that we looked at in section 1.
What did it do?
So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to create a new folder in here. I'm going to use the make directory command and call it Django portfolio. Okay, check that again. Now we have another folder in here called Django portfolio. Great. And we'll move into that folder. And what we want to do next is create a virtual environment. And for creating a virtual environment, If you're using anything above Python 3.5, you will be using BNB. So over here, inside of my new folder, I'm gonna say Python 3 because I want to use.
How do I go into the folder?
Okay. Call it in here. I'm gonna use the make directory command and call it Django portfolio. Okay, check that again. Now we have another folder in here called Django portfolio. Oh, great. And we'll move into that folder. And what we want to do next is create a virtual environment. And for creating a virtual environment, if you're using anything above Python 3.5, you environment. And for creating a virtual environment, now we have another folder in here called Django portfolio. Great.
What is that?
And we'll move into that folder. And what we want to do next is create a virtual environment. And for creating a virtual environment, if you're using anything above Python 3.5, you will be using BNB. So over here, inside of my new folder, I'm gonna say Python 3 because I want to use the Python 3 version, -m for module. I always think about it for make because we want to make a virtual environment. So I'm using this BNB module, and I'm going to create a virtual environment that I will name here .env. So you can name this anything. So this could be my BNB or whatever you want to call it, but I will call it .env. Start makes it a hidden folder, and generally you don't want to change anything inside of the virtual environment. So we wait for this to be done, and now.
Okay, what did he just do? So Python 3 and env. What? I'm guessing this is crucial.
You can see that inside of this folder we have a new folder called .env. This contains our virtual environment. Now, before we can install any packages in here to make sure that they're safe from the rest of the computer, we will still need to activate the virtual environment. We'll show you how that goes. We need to source it, so I can say source.env bin activate, and this is just a folder structure. So I'm going inside of the .env folder, inside of the bin folder, and then I'm
oh ships. The fudge am I supposed to do here? I guess I'm gonna do something else. Let's do this there. Let's put the rain again. Welcome everyone. Wait, let me put a welcome thing. Actually, on add it. There we go. What should I try to learn? Rake, bass. I don't know what that is. Let's do that. The pass statement does nothing. It can be used when a statement is required syntactically, but the program requires no action. For example, oh, okay. I don't know what it was called in C#, but it probably also exists there. Match statement. Let's see that one. Wait, how did you use the bass? Oh, just bass. Okay. What was the match? This one. All right. Come on. Okay. A match statement takes an expression and compares its value to two successive patterns given as one or more case blocks. This is superficially, maybe I need to make it bigger for you. Okay, there we go. Oh yeah, it's like the thing, what is it called? Oh, it's just gives cases. Case 400, bad request, case 404. Ah. Wasn't it like, what is it called in C#? It was something like that. I just don't know what it was called anymore. Bro, why is the ring broken? Come on, ring. Okay. Return, this is multiple. So you can do these, I guess, together. Oh, what? Combine it? Oh yeah, okay, or match point, okay. No, but this is different. This is the match. Oh wait, yeah, this is actually. This is not a match. This is a case. Oh no, it is. Match point 00 is origin. Okay. I don't know what this is, so let me try it out, I guess. There we go. You just put, give these things a thing. Y is 3, I don't know. Okay, run. Is that anything? Valid syntax. Oh. Let's see if this even works, to be fair, because I don't even know that. There we go. Okay, so it does work. Okay, so what does this do? So it prints x's and y x's, blah 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 blah. Okay, so it just gives you what these are or something. What is it called? I don't fully understand this. It's like the switch statement in C, Java or JavaScript. I mean, alright, I guess I understand it for now. F4. Oh yeah, this is like for something in something. Pass, mat, defining functions. Wait, defining it? What does it need to define? Oh no, defining functions. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, well, yo. Let's try this out. Try to like understand how it goes. Okay. Hello, sound kids brush. Come on. Guess that ain't working. Let's search something else now. Which Python is this? Oh, I don't know. Oh yo, getting more views. What should I? Okay. Coding style. Now that you are about to write long or more complex pieces of talk about coding style, most languages can be written or more concise formatted in different styles. Some are more readable than others. Making it easy for others to read your code is always a good idea. Adopting a nice coding style helps tremendously for that. Are you learning or explaining Py 3? I mean, it's like what is it called? Like a combination of the two. I try to understand it and then I try to explain it, you know? For Python, PEP3 has emerged as a style guide that most projects adhere to. It promotes very readable and eye-pleasing coding styles. What? What the fudge is that? F dot annotations. Ham and eggs. Return ham and eggs. Okay. What? Okay, what is annotations? Annotations. Is that what it gives? I'm guessing so. Let's try using the thing, because what was it called? Let me look it up here. The match thing, yeah. Spam eggs, bruh. Okay, so let me input put like your age or something. Your age is input. What is your age? Alright, and then I'll do it like match your age. Then I go with this case, maybe like yeah, but this will be okay. Wait, what is this used for again? Okay. I mean Hariner, what the fuck? Let me remember. It's for a menu or something. Let's imagine a menu here out of, okay, hello? Out of a menu, what do you want? 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm guessing now. Okay. Your choice. Case 1. And then print menu item 1. Case 2. Print menu item 2. Menu. Etc. There we go. Let's see if this works. Run, where is it? There it is. Does that fix it? Yo, Sigma boy. You are still streaming, mashallah. The first, oh, it's just been 49 minutes, so it hasn't really been that long. But yeah, I have. What? Why is this not working? Does it have to be in a mail, habibi? What? What are you talking about, bro? Okay. I don't understand what the problem is. Do I have to like declare it as a Python? No, but it did work without. This is so weird. Okay, so blah, I choose something. Then wait, let me remove this. Does it still work? Maybe it needs to like. Do I need to put a break? There. That could be the case. There There we go. Alright. That should work, but I feel like it won't. Loading. I feel like this is gonna take quite a long time. Oh, okay. Nope, my Wi-Fi's. I guess this won't work. Let's try like doing something else then. Let's try to do this one. But then with my own like code is oh, stream on YouTube. There we go. For I can change learn. Friends, alright. Does this fix? Does this work now? Maybe it's trash because it's on the browser. I don't know, but sometimes like the browser apps are quite trash, quite frankly. Bruh. Okay, wait, let me open Visual Studio. Let's go. W. Thanks for subscribing. Whoever did that. Let me check the name of it. Alright. I think I'm gonna go do something and I'll be back in a bit. 1 second, y'all. Not 1 second, like probably 5 minutes something.